Yeah. Okay. Let's get started. Let's get started. How was your week, Matt? How you been?
Eh, it's been good. It's been good. The uh the summoning ritual I've been performing on my streams has been going very well.
Hmm.
Much happy gotchas
Mm. You just got
for me and my chat.
uh, you just got what's her face? Mona? Was that her name?
uh, so it's not when you pull multiple copies of a character in Genshin,
Mm-hmm.
you that character gains an upgrade known as a constellation,
Mm-hmm.
and so Mona being a 5-star character is rather rare.
Mm-hmm.
And especially since she's not on the what do you call that? Currently, there's a banner which means that if I pull a 5-star, I was supposed to be guaranteed that character essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really care for that character. I wanted one of the 4 stars. But
Mm-hmm.
when I saw the 5-star symbol, right, I saw the gold star dropping down to the ground,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh shit, I pulled Albedo. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. It's a 5-star in my pocket. I'll have him if I need him.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And it popped up. I got a second copy of Mona,
Mm. Mm.
which was unexpected but very welcome.
Mm. But it was exactly what you wanted.
No, I got that one actually just yesterday.
Oh.
So there's a character named Fischl who's amazing at attack and support, and she's the 4-star I was gunning for.
Mm-hmm.
I performed the ritual on stream, and I pulled, and then so my Fischl right now actually has maximum constellations.
Mm.
Hence
Fish.
the term I am at max Chunibyo.
Mm. So official, correct me if I'm wrong, is the most popular character of Genshin Impact, right? Because like she's kind of I don't even know what you call it, like a girl weeaboo. A girl weeaboo. Does
The
that sound
the
accurate?
the Chunibyo.
Yeah. I couldn't
She's
pronounce
got
it.
she's got the gothic Lolita thing going. She's got the blonde.
Yep. Is it? Is
She's she's got the flattest justice and the thighs.
okay. Okay. I was wondering what was the appeal because I was looking at her character design. I was like, I kind of like um the Chinese girl with like the orange Qipao or whatever. You know what I'm talking about with the spear.
Oh, Shenling.
Yeah, I kind of like that design the best. I don't play Genshin Impact too much, but I will say I like the design for that character. You know.
Shenling's interesting. She's in an interesting place, and yet it's somewhat unfortunate because she
Mm.
plays a very similar role to Fischl.
Mm-hmm.
Both their character skills are summon turrets,
Mm-hmm.
except Fischl's fires at higher frequency, better range, and
Mm-hmm.
last longer.
Mm-hmm.
Except Shenling's does AOE instead,
Mm-hmm.
but has a kind of an awkward timing.
Ah, I would still
And
play her.
yeah, no, I mean like
Yeah.
there are builds for her that rock her out pretty well.
Yeah.
In both the was it what they call a carry character, which is your main DPS character,
Mm-hmm.
or support.
Mm-hmm. That's if I that's if I ever pick up the game again.
Which is probably never.
Oh, I don't know. You never know. We have like so much goddamn time. Like we're gonna be stuck in lockdown for like a while anyway. Like
That is very true.
yeah, I thought 2021 would be better, but like nothing really changed, right? Nothing really
Well,
changed.
that's if you're unwilling to travel.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, actually, that's not true either. If we get a federal level lockdown, well, that changes many things, doesn't it?
I don't know. I see a lot of my friends, a lot of people on my timeline are like traveling right now and stuff. Like not even in the United States, like outside the United States. I'm just like, how are you doing that? How?
There's some countries that you can go to. There are, unfortunately, it's not ones that that I care to
Mm,
travel to at the moment. Plus,
mm,
it's money that I want to keep at home at the moment. It is tax
yeah,
season.
yeah. Just was it store money for like a rainy day and stuff? You know, I think I'm thinking like that like all the time now, all the time. Um,
It's not just that, but like just in case I need to restock paper, restock wall scroll
mhm,
fabric, if I
mhm,
need to order new dockies,
mhm.
might be good to keep some money in the bank.
Yeah. Always a good idea. Always a good idea. Okay. But my week, my week, I got all my brutal achievements for Legacy of the Void. Pretty happy with that. It's no
Nice.
it's no MLG ESL League stuff, but like I'm pretty proud of myself when I get the brutal achievements. I'm currently finishing up Fatal Frame 2. I'm cautiously excited for King of Fighters 15. The characters look better.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah, I did. Big fan. I saw it the moment it came out. I wasn't mad that they pushed back the date because I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna be a baby about it. It's like, okay, if you need time to like make a good trailer, okay, please take the time. I don't mind. I don't mind. But they look pretty damn good. They look pretty damn good. I still wish they went back to like the sprite based cell shading in like King of Fighters 13, but I feel like that's never gonna happen. So I'm just gonna, I guess, settle for what it is. Samurai Showdown revealed two new characters. Cham Cham's coming. Hibiki's coming. I wish it was a different Last Blade character, but it's okay. Hibiki's moderately cool.
Yeah, I kind of. I guess that in a way, Hibiki was the safest yet the most boring announcement.
Yes, yes. I would have preferred like Zangetsu, like the guy with the hat, Um, but
You don't want the Wong Fei Hong character?
that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Lee would be
Yeah,
pretty cool to be in like
definitely.
Samurai Showdown. But like anybody from like anybody else besides Hibiki, I would have been happy with. It's such a good roster of characters.
I was just happy it was Iroha came in on DLC number 2.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't play Samurai Showdown 5, so I didn't have any experience with her. But I don't know. I like her character design. Call me a pervert or whatever, but I don't know. She looks hot. She looks hot. She looks good.
She wasn't in 5. She was in Tenka, which is basically 6.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh
which
yeah.
would have been a perfect game if it weren't for Mina.
Mm-hmm.
Because that Mina keep away was ridiculous in that game.
Mm-hmm. Mina's the girl with the giant bow and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they gave her invincibility on her jump back shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So if she was ever in trouble, she could technically just sort of charge down, hold up. She get like a few invincibility frames on the rising portion,
Mm-hmm.
and still be able to wall bounce out like Mai, and then just wall dive to the opposite corner,
Yeah.
and then put you in bullet hell all over again.
Yeah. I think I stopped at like 4. And then I get like kind of peaked at like 5 and 6. Like kind of looked at the characters and I was just like this doesn't look as good as 4. So I just didn't want to play it. And 4 is a surprisingly complex game. Surprisingly. But finishing up my week, I was watching my friend play Last of Us 2. Not great. Pretty lackluster ending with some pretty questionable scenes. I'm not going to say which ones they are. I think it's nothing I haven't seen before. Still upset about Joel's conclusion, but enjoy just watching my friend have fun with it because he is a mega fan and he genuinely enjoyed the game, so I'm not going to hark on him for it. Lastly, I'm working on my Fate line of characters, so watch out for those. Might do some of it on stream,
nice.
so yeah. So don't miss that in the coming month. I think I have like maybe 6 or 7 characters planned, but yeah, I'm pretty excited because I actually know something about Fate now, Yeah.
Well, welcome to Gacha Hell.
I'm gonna be free to play for FGO. I'm gonna be free to play, man. I'm gonna take it very very slowly. So we got our days. Oh, we got our weeks done. So we're gonna move on to news today. Or news this week. So I think you mentioned earlier today, but Japan is apparently outlining their copyright policies much more carefully. Today I only want to cover the latest story that has actually enacted these policies, more specifically Koei, since I just read the article on Event Hub's like I I think like a day ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
But Koei, I'll read the article like right now, like the important parts. The important parts. Koei Tecmo announced this week that the company plans to sue the alleged seller of an explicit and unauthorized DVD for copyright infringement that contains DOA characters, with police moving to charge them with the criminal offense. Um, the suspect in question is being accused of recording game footage in Dead or Alive and spin-off Extreme Venus Vacation with mods that remove characters, clothing, and costumes. Said videos were then allegedly burned onto DVDs and sold on online auction site, which caught the attention of Koei Tecmo and their lawyers. Like, I mean, I understand this and why this guy is in trouble because of actual distribution of a slightly modified version of Tecmo's product. Um, it kind of sounds like a bootleg DVD you would find on the street that has like a printed out title card and like a DVD disc that has writing on it that says like DOA triple X or something, you know?
Yeah. Well, the main thing I think a lot of people didn't realize was that the law was already passed in March
Mm-hmm.
last year,
Mm-hmm.
and then so the effect would not take effect until January this year. And now we're gonna see what the effect actually is, because it basically I don't think it changed the law. I think it just increased the penalties and increased of what was it? Increased the availability for enforcement.
Mm-hmm. I think the penalty for this guy specifically was, I think, 2 or 3 years in jail versus a $20,000 fine. So it's pretty hefty. It's pretty hefty, you know.
Yeah, it's I think, well, the other difference too now is that they can punish downloaders and purchasers, which is kind of the thing that actually worries a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I think if you are a purchaser or downloader, now it comes down to the level of, I think, 2 years of
Mm-hmm.
imprisonment, and
Mm-hmm.
then if you're caught distributing,
Mm-hmm.
that goes to 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's still like kind of a gray area for us artists, because it's like what we're doing, like I will say I do like a lot of fan art. I do like a lot of fan art and stuff. And then I know a lot of people in the artist alley also do like a lot of fan art. Um, I know Capcom actually handled it very well in their new policy changes, where it's okay to use their content as long as you provide commentary or some amount of your own content to adapt their style into your style. That's perfectly fine. But this guy is just, I get like this guy is just kind of like taking off their clothes and then burning. It's not even the full game. It's not even the full
No,
game.
it's just footage of him playing, right?
Yeah, it's just footage of him playing as like naked characters and stuff, and then he's selling it on eBay. I'm like, okay, I can see where there's a problem there. I can see where there's a problem there, because I know a lot of companies are trying to be more, I guess, Western friendly, and then like the Western thing is like, okay, apparently you can't have Japanese boobies and Japanese boobies and lady bits hanging out, you know, like
Yeah, I don't know if that has anything to do with that. Hold on. Let me, because I believe this was Japan, right?
mm-hmm.
So the other thing that a lot of people don't know is Japanese law has no concept of the term. Was it free use?
Mm-hmm.
What's that term? What's that legal term?
Gray area.
Not gray area. Fair use. Fair
Fair
use.
use. Fair use.
That you can use a piece of work for commentary, parody,
Mm-hmm.
and commentary and parody, right? Or criticism.
Mm-hmm.
So Japanese copyright law does not have a concept of fair use, which is actually doctrinal law in the United States, which
Mm-hmm.
means, at least in the United States, there's a good chance that even if a company goes after you, and most of the time they'll send you this, they have to send you the C&D first, right? And if you take it down, that's it. Like, they can't come after you farther for that. But
Yep.
if you continue and you get taken to court, you can still fall under fair use for use of, because you can say, hey, I'm not you, I'm just parroting you, or I'm not, or I'm criticizing you, or I'm using this for commentary. And you would have some level of protection there, which is not true for Japan, which is what makes it very, very, it makes this law a little bit more dangerous to doujinshi artists there. And at the same time, they don't, like, a lot of doujinshi guys are really unsure of what is the actual, what they can actually do at this point, because but I mean, of course, if you're overseas, it's like there's jurisdictional issues. Japan just cannot send cops over to your country and arrest you, right?
Well, when I was looking at like some of the Capcom policy changes, like Maximilian brought this up, but when I was looking at the Capcom policy changes, there's an actual page for it now, but they really outlined what was okay and what wasn't okay. One of the policies stated that you can make walkthroughs, let's plays, reviews, speedruns, as long as it provides some instructional or educational value. I'm not sure if that was like from Capcom Japan or Capcom America, but like that seems fairly clear cut. It lets me know that okay, it's okay to post up videos of your game as long as like I'm doing something to it, not just posting it up. Like I understand that very clearly, and I think it makes it easier for, I guess, like people like us or like content creators or YouTubers or Twitch people to use Capcom games, right? In the proper sense without getting sued, right?
Yeah, I guess. It kind of sucks for the people who kind of like watching Let's Plays for story mode, because now you would actually have to have the guy make commentary while he's playing.
Yeah, yeah. I always thought that was a little bit more. I hate saying this over and over, but it's like that's also like in the gray area. But I can understand why they would want to take those down, because it's just bare gameplay. If they just see like bare gameplay, it's like it's like they have the game already. They're not playing it themselves, but they have somebody to play it for them, and then it's like they're getting the game without buying the game. That's it.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess the other thing too would be, it sucks if you're a no mic streamer, but I mean, I don't think the no mic streamers are that popular anyway. So, I again, I mean, it might be someone's thing, and it sucks that this is true for them, but
I understand it at least, It's like games gotta make sales in order to like survive, so of course they have to take stuff like that down. If it's like a let's play or like with like some commentary, it's like even though they're using the product that they bought, it's like they're still adding their own thing to it, and then it's like its own unique thing. Like playing the game yourself versus watching somebody play the game and then vocally throw out their thoughts as they're playing the game is like it's like two different things entirely.
well, the other thing I think it also really affects are the modders.
Why you say that?
I don't know if you pulled it up or if you read it, but apparently there's been some things going on with copyright and modding.
Like could you define that for me real quick, because I have no idea what copyright modding is.
I'm trying to look up the news right now. It wasn't that long ago. I mean, I have to look for it first, but you can move on to the next article. I forget what it was. But yeah, there's been some things about like Nintendo Switch modding, some chip modding. That stuff's been popping up. But
I know there's like a lot of I know was it some companies are having like they're having a problem with like the costume mods for like Street Fighter. I think like Street Fighter 5, if you put like your own costume mods in or whatever, there's a chance you might get banned. Which it makes sense, because then they give you like a lot of costumes. I think every character has at least like 5 to 10 costumes, and they will want you to buy those costumes instead of modding your own costumes in. They got to make money. I understand that. I get it.
Yeah, no. I was just surprised that it's just one of those things. It's with the same, was it Right to Repair? like if I own a physical object, right, I have the right to have access to the documents that I need to repair this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, well, if it's something that you paid for and process, shouldn't you be allowed to modify it if you choose to do so? And if you brick it, like that's kind of on you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, wow, that's actually pretty crazy. I didn't realize that people were getting arrested over console mods.
Yeah. Well, not arrested. I think just like maybe like a cease and desist order or whatever.
Japanese police arrested 19-year-old Kyoto college student for allegedly distributing software that illegally circumvented copy protection on Nintendo's Wii console.
Yeah.
UK police arrest man over Nintendo Switch modding.
They were arrested. I thought they
Yeah,
just got a
California
cease
student
and
has been arrested
desist.
for modding game consoles to run pirated software.
God damn.
There's some pretty. It's pretty hefty.
You're right. It is pretty hefty. Okay. On a brighter note, though, like I thought it was a little bit funny to see like the Capcom policy. Like I was reading through like another part of the Capcom policy where it said like, oh, here it is. Audience appropriate. All fan created content should be appropriate for the audience of Capcom games. For example, if you take game content for younger audience and make it objectionable, we reserve the right to take it down. Now,
I mean, basically, it gives them an out. Says like, if they want you to take it down, you have to take it down.
Yeah.
That's just their. That is just their. Because it doesn't specifically say what are the objections, right?
yeah, but like I think they're kind of leaning more towards if you make porn of our characters, we will go to lengths to like take it down or like stop creating porn of our characters.
It is true, right? That Capcom has, even in Japan, Capcom has been pretty known to crack down hard on doujinshi featuring their characters. That's why you don't actually see that much Capcom doujinshi.
I think I thought it was like a Western mentality. It was like a Western mentality because they did take away like the Mika butt slap during like Capcom Cup, and then they took away the Cammy. Cammy was like squatting or something, and then you could kind of see like her crotch area or whatever, and then they took that away. And I feel like Capcom is trying to be like squeaky clean in terms of like how they represent their females. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to be safe for work, like 100% of the time.
That might be true for Capcom of America. I just know that Capcom of Japan was pretty notorious for doing this. Because there are other companies which were much more lax with the doujinshi scene, but Capcom in particular was very very harsh on them.
Yeah, like it's kind of the opposite of like Tecmo, right? Because it's like when you play a Dead or Alive game, it's like you know exactly why you're playing the Dead or Alive game. It's like you're not going to use any of the guys, you're going to use the girls and stuff.
Although Tecmo, I actually don't know how Tecmo is viewed, at least among the doujinshi scene. You don't actually see that much. I guess it's the difference between the manga publishers, the anime production companies, and gaming companies in Japan. The gaming companies in Japan seem to be much stricter with their copyright.
Do you think like actually outlining like this line of audience appropriate stuff, and then like I'm not sure if it's just me, but I feel like it's gonna have the opposite effect where people are gonna just create even more porn of their characters and stuff, like with BioShock Infinite's Elizabeth, and then when the director was like, stop making porn of my character or whatever, and then there was just even more porn of that character. It's like you can't stop them all, right? You can't stop them all. It's impossible.
Well, the difference is they could have done that in the States because we have fair use law, right? That's not afforded to doujinshi artists in Japan.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So they could say like, hey, we want you to take this down, but like, look, man, it falls under fair use, even though it may be your character. This is not your art design. This is not anything official. We use none of the symbols. We use none of the tags. it's parody. We've done this for parody, and that's allowed. Yeah. But I was just about to just repeat that. Yeah, that's not something that's afforded to Japanese artists.
Tech probably has like more reason to be angry if there's like nude mods or whatever, right? Because I feel like eventually, like if Japanese game girl nudity is like accepted in the West, I feel like they would put a microtransaction like right on it. They would be right on. It would be the most expensive thing in the Dead or Alive store and stuff, and people would just buy that shit up. They would just buy that shit up, and I wouldn't bat an eye because I'm like, okay, that's smart. That's why I play Dead or Alive.
I mean that is true if they made it official, right? But I think the main thing wasn't the mod; it's the fact that he was selling it on web auction.
Yeah, yeah, that was the main thing. But like, we're just moving on to like, oh, it's just kind of funny. It's a little bit funny, you know.
Yeah. It's just one. I don't think like the nude mod does not bother them. Like I'm pretty sure everyone working there understands that. Like yes, there's a nude mod that exists, and it's just gonna be there.
They probably start with that.
Like you can almost imagine that, like that when doing the models for the next game, they were like, hey, let's see what these modders are doing, and let's see if their models are any good.
Probably.
'Cause, I mean, if you jack their model, like what are they gonna say? Like, hey, you can't do that. It was like, well, don't be using my character then, right?
Yeah, you're right, man.
That's the danger of running fan mods.
We are moving on a little bit.
Again, it's a Japanese cop show up at your door, talk to a lawyer, don't say anything I say.
Okay. We are moving on. Matt, what do you think were the best-selling mangas for the year 2020? No need to look it up. I just wanted you to take, a quick guess and then see if you'll be surprised by the results.
Kimetsu no Yaiba by far, hasn't it?
You are correct, sir. By a wide margin.
If I remember the news correctly, I think Kimetsu no Yaiba outsold the entirety of the American comic scene.
That is absolutely correct. I was only going to talk about like the Japanese sales because they seem much higher, much higher than anything in the U.S. It's actually really sad. It's very sad. But Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba was at 82.3 million copies sold this year alone. That is absolutely ridiculous. And then the second one was Kingdom at 8.2 million copies. One Piece in third place at 7.7 million copies. Haikyuu at 7.2 million copies. Jujutsu Kaisen 6.7 million copies. P Neverland 6.3 million copies. Q Quintuplets at 6.1 million copies. Hero Academia following that by 6 million copies. Spy X Family at 4.5 million copies. And Attack on Titan making a small return with 4.3 million copies. Which one do you think surprises you the most, Matt?
I was actually surprised Quintuplets was up there. I knew Kingdom was really popular. Kingdom's actually one of my friend's favorite manga. She actually lent it to me last time I was over there. I was like, oh shit, this is good.
I think like two of my friends like read it almost religiously, and then they have been recommending I read it for like a really long time. It's supposed to be really good. I've heard of it. I've heard it's good. It's just that I don't really have time to read it right now.
It's like a really good Chinese story.
It's like a fight of the gods or something, right? Or like legendary heroes.
Kind of. It plays out exactly like you would expect a Chinese war epic to play out. It's about a small kingdom in a fictional Chinese history, and then two friends grow up saying they want to become the greatest generals to have ever existed. I buy my manga. I like to read on paper.
No, it's fine, dude.
Like, although I feel like maybe I should just pay for the Shueisha app on my Kindles. Because I can technically read their entire library for like $2 a month, and it's like that's probably a good deal for me.
I think I can understand reading manga in like the actual book But I think just having it online is way more convenient for me, and then I'll buy the book on a later date, you know? Like I don't read it because like I don't read the book. I don't read whatever manga that I'm interested in because like it's free online. It's like if I genuinely like it, I'll go out and then purchase the book and then I'll put it on like my shelf or something, you know? Like I just want to support the company. It's like good job. Keep working and stuff like that, you know?
That's that's how I was teaching myself to read Japanese early on. Was I would I would be able to get the online version,
Mhm.
and then I would purchase the original manga
Mm.
in Japanese,
Mhm.
and so I would look back and forth, and it's helpful in Shonen Jump that they have the furigana, which is they'll put the pronunciations of all the kanji
Mhm.
for you, so you can get used to reading it
Mm. Mm.
and recognizing and start recognizing kanji, which is really different because if you read Kingdom, it's considered a seinen book, so like you're older now,
Mm.
you should be able to read these basic words,
Mm. Mhm.
and then so they take away that sort of easy mode reading for a lot of people. And if you have people who who really like doing wordplay, like oh great or clamp,
Mhm.
then it becomes like just this monstrously difficult to read occasionally because they'll put in some old archaic kanji or some poetic form where it's supposed to say certain thing, but you have to know exactly how it's read.
Mhm. Mhm. Have you been reading any of the One Piece, the Haikyuu, the Hero Academia?
What was that? My favorite manga for a long while has probably been Black Lagoon.
Black Lagoon?
Yeah, Black Lagoon. You've watched Black Lagoon, right?
Yeah, it's an old, like super, super old manga, right?
Well, the manga's never stopped,
Yeah.
so it's still going.
It should stop eventually, right? I mean, like, was it Naruto stop, Bleach stop? I feel like One Piece is close to stopping. It's
Well,
close to
it's
stopping.
what was it? Black Lagoon also is running on a monthly, and the artist doesn't publish monthly,
Mm-hmm.
so it's got far fewer chapters than either of the weekly ones.
I think I used to be like one of the biggest like One Piece fans, but I've completely fallen off the wagon right now. Haikyuu I've heard of, but I didn't really read. Hero Academia I stopped after they beat like Overhaul, like right where the anime ended. I think it was like
Yeah,
season 3. And then I just lost interest. I lost interest heavily. Surprisingly, I'm super up to date on Attack on Titan, and it's weird because I felt like I wasn't interested anymore, and I had a lot of critiques about various character arcs, and I was really negative. I was like the worst person to Attack on talk to regarding Attack on Titan. Like if you were an Attack on Titan fan, you don't want to talk to me because I'll point out everything that's wrong with it and stuff. I was like
I
that.
pointed out.
Yeah. But
Who was
I was just like really negative about it. But
it?
I guess like the latest arcs aren't bad. Like I don't know why I kept reading it, but I just kept reading it. You know, I'm not gonna say anymore because I don't really want to spoil anything for potential watchers. I know like a couple people who sometimes look at these like boomer talks, and then I just don't want to spoil it for them because they're really big fans of like Attack on Titan, and they're waiting for like the anime release, and they're still interested in the series. So I'm not gonna go further into that. Um,
Yeah, my I had a friend in Japan who explained it to me, and he's like, the reason why it's popular is because the art sucks.
Wait, what?
Like it's a little bit counterintuitive, but he basically told me that the story is so good and it's so interesting and compelling that you read it despite how crappy the art is.
Mm-hmm.
And that tells you how good of a story Attack on Titan actually is. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, that's a pretty compelling argument.
Yeah, I will
Doesn't
say.
change the fact that the art sucks, but
I will say, um, it feels like the newer generation's version of like Naruto or Bleach. Like if you want to know like the definitive manga of like a certain generation, Attack on Titan would be like What's the generation after ours? Generation Z?
I have no idea.
Well, the generation after ours, it feels like their version of like Naruto or their version of like Bleach, where it's like, there will be complete nobodies who know nothing about like anime. They know nothing about cartoons, but they'll watch Attack on Titan and then they'll know exactly what it is. Or like those people who are like super obsessed with like Dragon Ball, It feels like the anime of a generation, I
It,
think.
uh, it's got the potential to do it. I don't know if it's gonna be more popular than Kimetsu no Yaiba, just because
Oh.
Demon Slayer is just those sales numbers don't lie, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I think Demon Slayer is like this generation, the current generation's most popular. Like it's their version of like Naruto. It's their version of like Bleach. It's probably like better written. It probably looks better, but then that probably comes with like technology and a bigger staff. Like, I still look back on like Naruto and Bleach like super fondly. There might be something in the future that outsells this or whatever, and it will be that generation's um, anime of the century or whatever.
Although I am curious to see because there's a surprising split between light novel readers and manga readers.
What do you mean?
Like the people who really like light novels don't really read that much manga, I feel.
Hmm. Well,
And
why do
vice
you say
versa.
that?
The people who love manga don't really read light novels.
Oh, why do you say that? Like, is there a statistic, or is it just from experience? Just talking to
Just
friends?
no, just when you talk to people at the shows, right? Because we meet a lot of anime fans,
Mm-hmm.
but you run into people who basically, oh yeah, I love this anime. I went back to read the manga,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also love this anime. It's like, well, did you read the novels that came for? It's like, no, I don't read the novels.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like, I love this. I love these two anime. I love the novels. But then,
Mm-hmm.
did you read the manga for this one? Oh no, I didn't read the manga. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
really? Like, okay.
I think like there's some Western mentalities when it comes to that, because I know if, like it's kind of like that for like Game of Thrones or whatever. It's like there's a lot of people who watch the show and there's a lot of people who read the novels, and then when you talk to like one or the other, it's like the people who have read the novels don't like the show. The people who watch the show don't like the novels. Maybe it's
Yeah,
like
or it's almost. I guess Warhammer has a system like that
yeah.
because there are people who like to make armies. There are people who like to play the game,
Mm-hmm.
and there are people who love the lore.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's actually very rare that you find people who like to do all three.
Yeah. I think like I'm one of those rare people for like StarCraft because like I've read all the novels, I've bought all the manga, I've I am like super I'm like a super lore guy for like StarCraft. Like I know everything about fucking StarCraft, dude. I love that game like so much. Like in regards to like competitive scene is like I don't know as much as like you or whatever, but for like lore wise, dude, I love that shit like so much, and it feels like I'm like in a very small minority where it's like I like the novels and I also like the game. Like I have nothing bad to say about it. Nothing bad to
Yeah,
say
and
about it.
then like for me personally, I don't think I even finished story mode. I was just like, all right, let's hop on the ladder. Let's counter people and like, piss people off. Like I'm gonna play two base muta and lock you into your single base, and then I'm
Yeah,
gonna time this game out in like an hour and a half and watch you just lose all your minerals
yeah,
to my 27 mutas flying on
yeah,
screen for like 45 minutes.
yeah. I think like the story mode is very like micro based. It's very like micro based too, and then it's less macro based. So then I feel like the reason my micro is like a lot better than my macro is because like I'm not expanding as much because I'm not given the opportunity to expand as much in like co-op mode and story mode. Whereas like when I play like multiplayer, I need to change my mindset and think like, okay, I need to expand more. I need to get more territory and stuff, or at least
Yeah,
more
like you
territory
need
than
to
yeah.
you need to actually like scout the map. You actually need to
Mm,
send out like weak units to probe and poke at your opponents.
I don't think I'm like thinking about that stuff like when I'm playing like a multiplayer game. It's like I want to get like right to the battle. Like I want to get right to the battle, but I'm not thinking about like the smaller stuff that you think about. You know, like that's one of my weaknesses. That's one of my weaknesses. Oh,
And that's actually interesting about was it classic Blizzard writing, because I feel like classic Blizzard writing was actually very it had a very nice grimdark ish touch to it.
mm.
Especially if you like the old, not just StarCraft, but maybe like the old Warcraft lore.
Oh yeah, it was super dark. Even Warcraft 3 was super dark, dude.
If you like that, it seemed like honestly it's like Warhammer Light.
Yeah. I think a lot of people thought like the StarCraft 2 lore went into kind of like a Disneyification. I can't pronounce it, but like it kind of took the Disney approach where there's like happy ending at the end, and then they all get there's like the climax is like a bunch of heroes like gathering together and then working together against like a common power. Then they win the day and everybody's happy. I think that's where a lot of the complaints came when it came to the lore.
It's a lot of Hollywood.
Yeah, a lot of Hollywood. Like the Legacy of the Void, it was like super Hollywood. I enjoyed it very much, but I didn't like the ending that much. Because I remember in StarCraft 1, Kerrigan essentially kills everybody. She kills everybody, and that's how it ends. It was fantastic. It was
Oh
absolutely
yes,
fantastic.
the Brood War ending.
Yeah.
Oh, like when Kerrigan turns on everyone.
Oh, dude, it was so crazy. It was so crazy. And then like I think the general for like the Confederate
Oh, Duke.
yeah. No, it wasn't Duke. It was the Admiral. You know the Admiral who shoots himself after he puts on like the classy music or whatever? That was like a
Oh,
cutscene.
not Stukov, the head admiral.
Yeah. I thought that was such a good scene. It was so good. Like even when I was like 12 years old and trying to process this, it was like, man, this is a really good game. This is a fantastic and then like as the classical music is like going on, you see like the buildings like blowing up and stuff, and then Earth is like going to hell, and then you can see like Zerg floating up on top of like burning buildings and shit. It was like so poetic, and you see like the Protoss running for their lives and junk. Oh man, it was mwah, fantastic. I could see why like StarCraft. A lot of people like StarCraft 1 just because it was like so fucking dark.
Yeah, I don't think it was StarCraft 2 that started it though. Was StarCraft 2 the first to come out in that generation? Because there was also World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft came out before StarCraft 2 though.
Yeah. So I know that a lot of people were saying that whole Hollywoodization of their storytelling started with World of Warcraft,
Mm.
and then it continued on StarCraft 2, and then also went into Diablo 3.
I think that was a major issue in like Diablo 3, right? Because like
mean,
the
Yeah, because I think it kind of worked for World of Warcraft because you can be a little sillier, you can have a little bit more humor to it.
mm,
But then when you take that and put it into Diablo 3, it was definitely not that sort of atmosphere.
because Diablo 2 was like super dark, right? There were some like really messed up shit in Diablo 2.
Yeah, and I mean there was like some fucked up shit in Diablo 1 as well.
Mm, mm-hmm,
I think a lot of people were remembering the butcher scene.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever heard the clip.
Yeah. Oh,
The,
fresh meat, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and he was actually a really hard boss too.
Mm. As somebody who played Diablo 3 before I played Diablo 1 and 2, because okay, so my excuse here is because like my computer couldn't run at a time. I had a really shit piece of crap. It was like a compact that could barely run anything. I was playing like Maple Story at like 15 FPS. It was very slow. So I could not
Yeah.
play Diablo at all. So like when I got like a new computer, Diablo 3 was the first one I tried, and I was just like, okay, this is pretty fun. But
I
after,
think mechanically Diablo 3 is perfectly fine.
mm-hmm,
It's a fun game to play.
mm-hmm.
Could the story be darker? Yes,
Mm,
but it's still not awful. I think a lot of people don't. It's better than what a lot of people give it credit for.
yeah, yeah. I very much enjoyed my time with like Diablo 3. I do go back, like I go backwards, and then I tried like Diablo 2 and Diablo 1, and I very much enjoyed those, except like I was playing those for like mainly story reasons instead of like gameplay reasons, because when you go backwards for like games, it's like you start to see like the little nuances or the little quality of life changes. Like I mentioned this last time with like StarCraft 2, but like when you're moving your army around, sometimes they kind of like trample over each other if like you don't micro them like properly. I know I can move around like one vulture really really well. One to four vultures really really well in StarCraft 1, but in StarCraft 2, I can move around maybe like 10 or 12 vultures very very well. And
Yeah,
that's
the quality of life really gets to a lot of people.
mhm.
Although I will say I feel the opposite when it comes to fighting games.
What do you mean?
Because you've played Accent Core, right?
Yeah.
Downloaded on Steam,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure you've also played Xrd.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you will agree with me to say that Xrd executionally is much easier than than Accent Core.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with that.
At the same time, when you're playing Accent Core, you feel how crisp everything is. Like when you put an input,
Mm,
like as long as you are on top of your execution, the game is super crisp and responds very, very well.
mhm. Mhm.
Where sometimes it feels a lot of modern games can be a little bit sluggish or it feels a little sloppy at certain points.
Yeah. I'm playing like Street Fighter 5 like right now. I'm like slowly getting into it, and it feels exactly how you're describing it, where some of my movements feel very sloppy. Like I'm not saying like Street Fighter 5 is necessarily a bad game. Like I'm still enjoying my time playing the game. It's a fighting game. I love fighting games. Of course I'm going to enjoy it. But it does feel a lot more sloppy whenever I try to input commands, combos. Apparently there's like a lot of target combos in like Street Fighter 5 that I'm actually very very uncomfortable with, in terms of like, okay, we used to do this without like the target combos. We used to do this with like one frame links and stuff to make like further express ourselves. Like when we would do a combo that's unique to us, that we spent
Mhm.
hours and hours in the lab, like planning out and practicing and stuff. That combo was like unique to us, and when other people saw it, they were like wowed by it. But like now, I feel like the most optimal combos are the ones that everybody can do, which is like a double-edged sword. It's like a good thing and a bad thing, you know?
Um, did you hear? Was it Corey Gaming and then GamerB was talking about that?
I think I might have heard some of it.
He said it took. He doesn't like five because it took away from his expression in the game.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because
Now I remember.
he felt that it doesn't matter how much he tried to optimize something because the moment you know you can do it in this game, everyone can do it. Like
Mm-hmm,
there's no barrier to say, hey, I have to make a decision within this moment. Do I go for the harder combo, which I can
mm-hmm,
potentially drop, or do I go for the easy combo, which guarantees me my net damage?
mm-hmm,
Or maybe I'll go for the easy combo that guarantees me a knockdown, which gives me a shot at another mix-up, which can lead me to even more damage.
mm-hmm. I think the other issue I had with like Street Fighter 5 is like there's not many Justin kind of called this out. Justin and F Champ, but
Yeah,
there's not a lot of like defensive options in this game, I think.
I think that we're talking about that in after season 2, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of I guess like rushdown oriented characters or whatever. I
I
played
think that's also hard because Street Fighter isn't exactly an offense-oriented game. The
yeah.
mechanics are not as suited
Yeah. It
for
felt
offense as like a Guilty Gear or Marvel.
yeah, or I think I feel like King of Fighters is a lot more offensively suited compared to like Street Fighter, where it's like, okay, in Street Fighter 4, okay, I didn't like Street Fighter 4 that much, but I will say it's more defense oriented, and I liked having all those options and stuff. In Street Fighter 5, I think like some of the characters don't really have that great anti-airs. It's very hard for like some of the bigger characters, the grappler characters, to kind of succeed because you have to be very, very patient when you play a grappler, you know?
Yeah. Snake Eyes was saying something about that too, right? When he was talking about Zangief in Street Fighter V, that it's very, very difficult to play because your defensive options are so limited.
Yeah, but I guess it is what it is, you know? Like, I'm just happy I get to play, like, fighting games again. As in, like, as much as I like Third Strike and Street Fighter 2 and uh, any King of Fighters entry. Like I don't feel like the population is gonna go up anytime soon. And then right now there's only like super good people playing on like Fightcade.
Third Strike is an amazing game in a way, right?
Dude, I love Third Strike. I love Third Strike, dude.
I need you to get in touch with my buddy Jason. You guys can mash it out.
Is it Jason on the Jason on your stream?
No, different Jason.
Oh man, I just want somebody to practice with, dude. Nobody
He's,
wants. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, you're gonna get a lot of matchup experience with Q if.
Oh man, I think
Like,
a
wow,
lot of people
Q
don't want
player.
to play me because like I made Alex. I made Alex, and then it's either people get super frustrated with me or they think Alex is a garbage character, which is kind of true. Alex is pretty bottom tier, but I like him. I like him. He's pretty cool, you know.
I got my 3-button chun.
Alright,
All I have to do is hit one thing and SA2, and that's all I need to know.
Yep. Chun's a nightmare. Chun's an absolute nightmare in that game, but I still love it. Okay.
Well, was it Daigo was saying the reason why the Third Strike players like Third Strike is because at no point in the game do you not have a defensive option.
Yes. Absolutely agree.
No matter the situation, no matter how bad your situation, there was a way that if you did this option, you could have gotten out of that situation.
Oh,
Which I actually think that's a very, very good point about why Third Strike is good. But then he also explained why old school fighting game players hate that.
Yeah. Because like
what?
they like being able to close out the game. Right?
I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, right? It's, hey, I earned that knockdown. I earned that corner position. I earned this dominant position. How come I do not get an advantage from this dominant position?
But technically, you're like getting like a lot of advantages already. Because then, like, if you're like super ahead, like the system, any fighting game system rewards you with your opponent being like dizzied, and then you do another combo on them. It's like I'm not sure how to describe this. I'm not sure what the proper word is, but it feels like you're already being rewarded for like the super complex combo or your mix up or whatever. Would you say that is enough, or they should just automatically take the round?
I guess it depends on how you view risk versus reward. Mainly because my two favorite games are very different in that way. Well, Vampire Savior actually kind of rewards or gives a lot of options to the person getting knocked down. Because there's a defensive role that's 100% invincible.
Yeah.
And you can also time its release. So you don't actually have to roll right away. You can sort of see if your opponent wants to back up, see which direction you want to roll before they continue their offense, or they'll be reckless and try to jump in and try to get on top of you just in case you stand still. And then so there's a nice invincible, at least, way to sort of stand up before your opponent gets right back on top of you. It's not a lot, but it is enough. Versus Guilty Gear, where, or at least classically in Guilty Gear, if you get knocked down, you better pray to God that you guess right on that mix-up. Because I'm pretty sure you used to watch some matches, and you're looking at that, and you got to think to yourself, I don't know how he blocked that, but he did. And
yeah, I completely understand it. The person who gets knocked down should receive like a disadvantage for being knocked down. Is that what you're trying to say?
yeah, it's the person who worked to get that knockdown deserves that advantage because of that strategic move that he made.
Okay, I understand that. I understand.
I guess that's the point of sacrificing combo damage to get the knockdown, right?
Yeah,
Especially in Guilty Gear, where I can extend these combos for a very, very long time and maybe pop you up in the air where you're a little bit more safe, and you can get away from me.
Yeah.
Versus going for an early knockdown and being able to set up more offense.
I get that, man. Okay, we got time for one more. The last thing I want to cover is PlayStation 5. PlayStation 5 has apparently only sold 240,000 units in the first 6 weeks of availability. Now, to put that into perspective, that is lower sales numbers for the first 6 weeks of distribution for Dreamcast, PS3, PS4, and GameCube. PS4 is only beating the sales of PS Vita for the first 6 weeks by a very small margin. I would say, like, give or take 10,000 units or so. Those are some pretty sad numbers. Matt, I think I remember you saying you wouldn't ever buy a PS5 because of the censorship problems with that. Which game did they censor that made you not want to buy one anymore? Like, just quick examples and what they did in terms of censoring explicit scenes, bad translations, just whatever it is.
I know the Marvelous games got hit with some pretty hard censorship. Well, it wasn't just the censorship, right? It was I know the Western market is complaining that their version is censored versus the Japanese one. So instead of leaving it at maybe we'll stop the censorship or what was it? I know Sony Asia, the one based in Singapore, for the Southeast Asia region, those games are released in English text, Japanese voice, and not, and they carry and they most often will have the same, will not be censored like the Western version. But Sony decided that the idea was they would go to the Japanese developers and say, hey, we want you to censor your games from the domestic market down. I thought that was bullshit.
You thought it was bullshit?
Yeah, I think that's bullshit. And now you saw that they've lost 3 major developers.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up.
Yeah, and I mean, they haven't stated it as direct. They stated as directly in Japanese as you could possibly say, that their vision of a game cannot be created under these circumstances. And essentially saying, we're being censored and I don't want to deal with it.
Like,
awesomely enough, they've kind of formed their own studio, which is kind of cool. See you guys on Steam.
I feel you, man. I get your perspective on that. I've heard it actually a couple times, just from like talking to friends or like other game testers I would like work with, and when I would ask them why they weren't getting like a PS5, I wasn't aware of, like, I guess Sony trying to cater more to like Western audience. Like I heard, like, I didn't know about this, but apparently like Sony wanted to change like Japan's default button layout, as like Japan has circle as the confirm button for all their games. But
I believe that is true for most of Asia, because if you don't know what that is, it's Marubatsu.
Yeah.
So was it? I guess in the Western world, we think of, when you see the circle versus the X. X is marked. I marked the empty, and then the circle is the empty. The empty spot, right?
Yeah.
So then X means confirm, and then empty would mean no.
Yeah.
Versus Japan, where it's Marubatsu, meaning Maru is the circle, which means confirm, and X always means no.
Yes.
If you see a cop make an X sign toward you, it means stop what you're doing.
Yes. I've seen that
before I have to go further, right?
Yeah.
like stop here and we'll call it cool.
Yeah.
But you know, do not proceed farther than this.
Yeah. Yeah. But
That is your warning.
yeah, I think I've seen that a couple times when I go out to eat or whatever, and I take like pictures while I was like in Japan and whatever, and then they didn't want their picture taken, so they would raise their hands up, and then they give me the X sign. It's like universally accepted, like the X is universally accepted as like no, no, you know, and then circle is the yes, yes, the ding.
Or
This
was
is
it?
correct.
That's why yeah. When you're eating a Japanese restaurant, you're not supposed to cross your chopsticks when you leave it in the bowl and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stuff like that. So the fact that that's very culturally iconic in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and for Sony to change it just because like, well, we wanted to make this for the Western market, and
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy because I don't see why it would be so difficult to not make that as simply an option in the option screen.
I
Because
think.
personally, I play a lot of Japanese version games,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's very frustrating when I have a system where the confirm is X, but when I'm in game, my confirm is O, because I have to make that mental switch and continually, I
Adjust.
had to continually make a conscious, was it mind frame switch to remember that like, oh, this is my confirm and this is my cancel.
I'm not sure if you ever played like Final Fantasy 9, but there's like a monster you can encounter that like asks questions, and then if you get his question right, you get like extra AP and extra experience. But the problem is, like he asks you like yes or no questions, and it's denoted as circle and X, and you attack circle or X to answer his question. Now, as a
Yeah.
kid, I had no idea what was right and what was wrong. Because then the Western thing would be like, okay, you would press X on your controller to confirm stuff and circle to cancel, right? But when I looked at it, like just looking at it from like a third person view, it's like, okay, there's a circle that I have to hit, and then there's an X that I have to hit. Which one is the yes and which one is the no? I was so fucking confused. I was so fucking confused, dude.
Yeah, I think one of the major issues with the UI on that game was they did not tell you which one was yes and no in game, which would have been very, very helpful. I feel.
Yeah, but I think I would prefer like the Japanese layout too. You know, it is a Japanese game, and I would have wanted to play it like the Japanese way. It's a Japanese game, you know. It's like if it was an American game, I want to play it the American way. You know, it's like you don't have to change it up so much and cater to like whatever is in the America or whatever.
Well, yeah, I think that was the biggest kick, right? Because it's not that you made the Western option the default, and then you could switch it back if you wanted to.
Yep.
It's like no. You just have to deal with this thing, and we don't care if you don't like it.
Yeah. There was also a problem with PS5 game reveals not having Japanese subtitles. Like I didn't realize this until I went back and I went on YouTube and I looked up the couple of games coming out on PS5. So like Horizon, Kenna, Demon Souls, not even Ghost of Tsushima has the Japanese subtitles in the game reveals. Like I'm talking about like the first time people see this game, no Japanese subtitles. I'm kind of baffled. I'm genuinely baffled.
Are you talking about the E3 reviews?
Yes.
Reveals?
Yes.
Because I thought that the reveals were worldwide simultaneous, right?
Yep.
So then if they released a trailer for E3, it would be up on the YouTube channel. And usually Sony of Japan has its own YouTube channel.
Yep.
So the Sony trailers are actually different from so Sony I think has different channels for different regions. So then you could subscribe to the one that you want. But I'm not sure if they didn't actually release one with Japanese subtitle. Well, the other thing too is I think they used to also didn't YouTube also have a subtitle option on their videos?
Those are like auto generated though.
No. You can actually put a closed caption on, or you used to be able to.
Yeah.
Put a closed caption, and you were able to edit that. On your
But
video.
I'm talking about like actually in the video. Actually in the video. Like no Japanese subtitles for like Japanese games. Japanese developed games. Because I know Demon Souls, that comes from Japan, right? It should have like Japanese
Yes.
subtitles. And then like so the first reveal for it, I would say, hey, you know, like this is a Japanese company. They should have like Japanese subtitles. Their main market is the Japanese people. It's like you don't have to cater to me. It's like I'll watch it with Japanese subtitles even though I can't even read it, you know? Like I mean just I just kind of want them to respect the original audience and stuff, you know? Like I don't have a problem with the Japanese subtitles.
That's interesting because it would add to everything too, right? Because
Mm,
it's one of those things where it's not one particular thing that makes everything jump off the edge.
you know?
It's these little accumulative things that really start to put you off after a while.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because if you're a gamer in Japan and the Sony is a Japanese company, but they've never made any attempt to market this to you.
I would feel kind of mad. Like as a if I was living in Japan now and was Japanese and I was a Big Ten gamer, I would be pretty mad at Sony. I wouldn't want to purchase their product at all. You know?
And that's on top of them, changing your fan service games if that's what you were into.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I wanted to bring up was PlayStation's Japan studio, which co-developed PlayStation hit originals such as Bloodborne and The Last Guardian. Their contracts were not renewed, and their development teams were slashed to a third of their original team. There were also confirmed departures by producer Toriyama, known for Demon Souls
Mm.
and Bloodborne, and also a departure from Keiichiro Toyama. I think
Those are
he.
the three guys that quit, weren't they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it's two of the three guys that quit, but
Okay.
I seriously had like no idea. Like I was wondering why there were like no games that I wanted on like PlayStation 5
Hmm.
because most of them I think were like Western based. Because then the ones I mentioned, Horizon, um, Kenna, uh, Last of Us is out there, right?
Because was it Jason in my chat who he mentioned that the PS5 is actually the highest number selling console in US history.
Really?
No, I believe it. I've actually, it doesn't surprise me that because the low sale numbers that you're talking about are the Japanese domestic sales.
Yeah, because I thought
So
it would be like a better talking point since you like Japanese culture so much, you know?
yeah, so it doesn't. So it's two different things. I mean, I'm very sure that the PS5 is selling very very well here.
Mm.
Whether it or not it will continue to sell well is a different question.
Yeah. I just don't like this mindset, dude. Like I don't like this mindset that Sony has right now. I mean, I remember purchasing PlayStations 1, 2, 3, and 4 because they had distinctively Japanese games such as like the Soul series, Silent Hill, Final Fantasy, Metal Gear, Japanese fighting games like Street Fighter, Tekken, and King of Fighters.
I feel like that late '90s, early 2000s was probably the height of Japanese gaming
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's when they had the highest dominance.
Yeah, yeah, and I totally believe that. But now when I look at the PS5 and I look at these games, I don't want any of them. And I playtest like a lot of these games. Like if you can name a Western developed game for like the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, I've probably done game testing for it. I can't say much
Mm.
about it other than that.
Yeah, you're still under NDA, aren't you?
Yeah. So I can't say anything about it. But I will say I'm not particularly excited for any of these releases. You know? Like
Especially since the only game I would actually might want to play on the PS5 is Yakuza, and then hey, it's actually available on Steam.
yes. Yes.
Was it Final Fantasy VII Remake
Mhm.
is under a year's contract
Mhm.
exclusivity with Sony, but that means in April it will release, and it will probably have a PC release, which actually I don't mind playing again because it's not Materia is not gacha. Materia is will level the same way, so I can completely rebuild my save file,
Mhm.
and it won't take me that long because I actually know how to pass all the bosses now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, what I'm saying is like the magic isn't really there anymore. Like with you saying like you can, if it comes out on PC, like Final Fantasy Remake comes out on PC, and then you'll play it again just so you can have the same build that you had in like on the PlayStation. I feel the same way about like a lot of the other Final Fantasy games that came out on the other PlayStations, like Final Fantasies, um, was it 7 to like 10-2? It's like I can play those, like I can go back to those like over and over and over. They're fantastic games. And I remember being super excited for it. And I love my PlayStation. I love my PlayStations like 1 through 4 because it's like I got excited for the games, but now I'm like, dude, there's nothing to play in this console. Why am I buying it? You
Yeah,
know?
there's the release wasn't that impressive. That's the other thing too, that I didn't see any games that I desperately wanted to play.
And like to know this where it's like Sony is intentionally disrespecting their Japanese audience in favor of like Western audiences. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I don't like it at all. And I wish they would change their mindset a little bit. Like you could say like, okay, you just want them to do what you're saying. It's like, well, if I was running things in like Sony, yeah, that's how I would flip it. But like it's just how I feel. It's like it's not gonna make it true. It's not gonna make it.
I mean, so Sony's gonna do what Sony's gonna do.
Yeah, Sony's gonna do what Sony's gonna do. I get it, but it's very disrespectful for their core audience, and I sympathize with a lot of the Japanese gamers, just as I sympathize with like I
Well,
guess.
the way I feel about it too is that there's no real reason to sympathize with them. It's basically a consumer market, right?
Yeah.
If the reason why they don't purchase this thing is
Mm-hmm.
because they don't feel like they're missing out on anything if I don't have this in my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's how I feel about it too. It's not like I like it's just like I said, I don't feel like I'm missing anything from not having a PS5.
Well, yeah, yeah. But I still I miss those days where it's like I was excited for a PlayStation release, but now I'm not. I'm not at all, and it's kind of sad. It's really sad.
There's still games that I'm excited for, which is nice. Wait, hold up. I'm just looking up the near replicant. I want to see what bonuses do I get. Okay, the limited edition. I don't really give a shit about any of this
Mm-hmm.
because the soundtrack is not the full soundtrack, and I actually thought they gave you some Zippo lighters, and no, it's just pins.
That's the other thing, right? It's like the I feel like the limited editions are getting like cheaper and cheaper. They're getting more expensive, but then like the materials on the inside are getting cheaper and cheaper, I
Oh
think.
my! If they gave me Zippo lighters with the Grimoire with the Grimoires engraved in front,
Hmm.
yeah, you have my money.
Like at least like something kind of decent, you know? Like I have like a couple limited editions. Like I have the Assassin's Creed 3 limited edition where it comes with like Connor Kenway or whatever his name is, and then he's like it's a solid statue. It's pretty damn tall. It's like as tall as my monitor, and then he has like the American flag sticking out. There's like lots of detail. It looks fantastic. But I look at the limited edition I got for like Batman Arkham Knight. It looks like absolute shit, dude.
I put
Absolute
the
shit.
link in Discord. You can pop it up on stream.
Hmm. White Snow Edition.
That's what they call it.
Okay, let me pull this up. New replicant. There we go. That looks
You
pretty
check out
sweet.
that little box of silver at the bottom where it
Yeah.
says the Grimoire pin set.
Yeah.
I thought those lighters at first. I was like, that would be cool.
It does look like lighters from like a distance or whatever. Oh man.
You're already saying it can't be sold to 17-year-olds. Just make the damn thing 18 plus and sell me a lighter, okay?
Oh man, but they wanna cater to like every single audience. They wanna cater to like the widest audience. That's why they're like making it super safe, right? Yeah,
Just-
yeah, yeah.
I got excited for a split second, then I saw it was pins.
Exactly, exactly. You know, like well, when I say like I sympathize with like Japanese gamers, I wanted to compare it to like us old dudes that still love like all these franchises and stuff and wish it could be like, maybe a little bit more mature, maybe a little bit more grown up in terms of like what we get in like limited editions or what we get in like games or this weird direction that storytelling is going towards, like when we were talking about like StarCraft 2 being like a little bit more Disneyified, or what's the other thing we were talking about? We are talking about something really
Well,
good.
I don't think it's just adult. I feel
Oh,
Warcraft
Diablo.
actually Warcraft works in that sort of Disney-fied style. Even
Mm.
though it started off as a Warcraft as a very Warhammer-ish grim dark fantasy.
Because it looks
When
silly. It looks silly by today's standards, right?
no, but then when they transferred over to that Disney, it still worked for them because even in that grim dark setting, the
Mm.
trolls always there was always that underlying Blizzard humor there that
Mm.
worked very well. And
Mm.
here's the thing: was it Fallout 76 actually had the had Nuka rum? They sold bottles of rum with special edition
Yeah. Yeah.
of their game,
Yeah.
and like what? Like come on, they sold alcohol. You give me a lighter.
Yeah. Yeah. But like those are the breaks, right? Those are the breaks. Like
I don't think anything can justify purchasing Fallout 76 though.
nothing good to say about that game. Nothing good to say about it at all. All
Except they
right.
packaged it with a bottle of rum.
And you got the, was it the duffel bag? The duffel bag that wasn't really a duffel bag.
Oh my god, those shitty bags.
Oh yeah, they had to issue an apology for that and then send out new bags. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. Oh man. All right. But that is all I have for today. We rounded out at 1 hour and 26 minutes, which isn't bad. Isn't bad. I feel like we got a lot done today. It's just that nobody's like actually watching us right now. But
we had an audience of 3, which
yeah,
is as good as my averages on my stream. So
if there's 3 people watching us, thank you guys so much.
I think there's only 1 now, but
Aw man, it's because we're closing out. It might be
actually
just
no, it might be mine because I'm also stream sniping because you keep track of the smoothest. So it
it's
might be
okay.
my
It's okay. It's okay. But I think we did a pretty good job today. This is all, as long as we keep practicing, I feel like we're gonna get better. We did a pretty good
Yep.
job today.
Where are your friends? Where's Tofu in?
Oh, I think Tofu might be taking care of his kid like right now.
Oh no, I'm sure it's Saturday night. It's kind of at a weird time. Usually we do the afternoon where everyone's a little bit more free.
Yeah, or like Friday night or something. But I had like the gym was like super busy like this entire week. Even though like COVID was around, it was like first week of like January is like a nightmare for me. So I wasn't streaming very much, and I couldn't do the Boomer Talk on like Friday. So I hope you'll forgive me for that.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I pulled my maximum Chunibyo, so
Mm.
that worked out for me.
I feel you. I feel you, man.
But I actually met up with some kung fu guys today, and we actually did some karate in the park.
Oh, that's amazing, dude. Oh, you should have mentioned that in like how was your week and stuff. I want to know about
It's
the
just
little
crossed
things
my
too.
mind. It's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna close it out for now. YouTube video is gonna be up possibly on Monday. But for anyone that's still watching, thank you so much for watching. My name is Triple. Matt, you want to close this out?
Yep. Thanks for joining us, guys. Take care. We will see you soon.
All right. Thank you guys. Bye.